strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Welcome, Splinterlands fans. We have something brand new coming to the game that was just announced today. We have our first dual element card. Zyriel here is, by the way, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this is our first dual summoner card. It's going to be a promo card coming to the game next Tuesday. And by the way, the artwork is just absolutely gorgeous. Even the name up here, this whole graphic is absolutely great. But what about the card? What type of card are we getting? We'll skip through this other stuff. We'll come back to it later. Show me the stats. This is what the card looks like. It is our first card with weapons training that is tradable. So we've got several other weapons training cards in the game, but they are all the new Soulbound reward cards. So you have to earn them in the game. You have to get lucky enough to pull them from chest. I've had some problems with these cards. So I haven't gotten to use weapon training too much, but this is the first one that you can go out and buy, or you can go out and rent on the market. So first weapons training card, first dual element card, which means you can play it when either life or death cards are available, and that is pretty cool. That was a surprising combo for me. Like, they talked about how this was coming. I thought it might be something like a death fire type thing. That feels like it'd have some good synergy together, right? Life and death are kind of opposites, so I haven't gone around the lore yet. I definitely want to do that. I've been too busy theory crafting and diving into the stats and the abilities right now, though. So there is lore down here. If we come and check it, there is some lore that I'll have to read through and kind of find out why this card is both a life and death. I don't know if they answer that or not. But anyways, is this card going to be any good? So I think it's going to be nice, because 5 attack with weapons training, if you're not familiar, weapons training is going to give adjacent cards that do not have any attack. It's going to give half of the range damage, half of the attack here. So if we back up here, so at max level, it will give 3 attack to those adjacent cards. We're going to take a look at some of those cards here in just a second that it might pair well with. But if we look at some of the other weapons training cards, 5 attack for 7 mana is a very great ratio. That's going to allow you to get a lot of attack out there. Let's go look at some of these others here. Like here is, let's see, we've got Avis that I pulled up here. Although I didn't realize until I was just looking at Avis how similar this card is. We've got 3 of the same abilities, the same speed, low health, similar mana in the life splinter, life element. So I'm a little disappointed that there's so much similarity there. They can be paired together to make a dual attack card, because you have magic and range. But there's 6 attack, or sorry, for 6 mana you get 3 attack. Now it is magic attack. But here's barracks. Here's a ranged attack. Maxed out 4 attack for 10 mana. 7 mana for 5 attack sounds a lot better to me. So if we compare it to some of those other cards, I really like Akira. Again, this is magic attack, so it's not necessarily 1-to-1, but 8 mana for 3 attack. I think this one over here is going to be pretty strong. I think that can be very, very strong. You get a lot of attack out there. I love the rust ability on anybody. And then rust ability pairs well with the life leech ability, because if you have ranged attack, you want to be hitting health, right? Because if you just damage the armor, you don't get any life leech from that. But if you do 5 range damage to their health, you're gonna get 3 health back. So that can be very helpful. That plus this shield here can be very helpful, especially if you're facing like some return fire. That can always be one thing about these weapon training cards. They can be a little bit of a dual-edged sword, especially up at higher leagues. You see a lot of return fire. You see a lot of reflect. And when you see those abilities, sometimes we might, like, let's say we've got True Speaker next to this card, and cool, we're giving True Speaker 3 attack. That sounds awesome. But then we get return fire and amplify, and True Speaker ends up killing himself off. And then you lose your heal, you lose your cleanse, you lose your protect, and you lose some of those support abilities. So that can be, weapons training can really be a double-edged sword. And because I haven't pulled a lot of these cards, or I haven't got them high enough at champ level, I haven't really gotten to get a lot of experience with weapon training and see just how good it is, which still makes it hard for me to judge some of these cards a little bit. But I do still think that 5 attack with weapons training on a 7 mana card. I think that can be pretty solid, and then you can play it in multiple splinters, multiple elements. So I think it's going to be pretty solid. So how do you get it? Before we go look into the synergies, let's come back up here. How can you get this card? This is a promo card that's going to go on sale on Tuesday, May 2nd. There are going to be 15,000 of them available, single BCX. So that is one improvement. I have to say, I have to applaud the Splinterlands team for making this change, is that it's not a promo card that's being sold at max level like a lot of the previous promo cards have been. Because this is very different than the promo card that they made for SPS stakers. Okay, that was designed to be kind of a for the people card, I think, as Aggro called it. And this one's made to be much more exclusive. So they've done that in the past by making it max level only. Now you can get them at 1 BCX, which I think is a very good change. What is the price? It is expensive. 80,000 DEC is kind of the base price, or you can use vouchers. So if you use vouchers, it is going to be 40,000. Do we have that? Is that up here? Where's it at? It's up here someplace. It's 40,000 DEC and 160 vouchers. So down here, 40,000 DEC plus 160 vouchers. I think maybe I mentioned that someplace else. You can essentially get a voucher discount there. All in all, at current prices, this comes out to be about, it's pushing $60, and prices like voucher prices and DEC prices are kind of starting to creep up a little bit as people prepare for this, which is kind of typical. But right now it's about $60 per BCX. You're looking at it might approach $700 for a maxed out copy. Is it worth it? I really like this card, and I'm curious, will all 15,000 sell out? I do think it's a bit expensive, and I've got so many cards, so many monsters that I still need. I don't know if I'll get one or not, because if we're being honest, I think I can find better ways to upgrade my deck for $700. As much as I want this card, I really do want this card. I want to go play with it. Maybe I'll have to see if I can go out and rent one, if anybody will be renting them out. We'll see. I haven't necessarily made up my mind there, but I know there's going to be a lot of complaints about the price. Okay, and one thing I do want to say about the price is, again, this is made to be an exclusive card, and I feel like it might be a little too high priced for me. It might be a little bit too expensive, and people will complain and say complain about the price point that they set, and that's not. I'm not really a big believer in that, because to me, it's going to be good either way. Either people are going to go pay for this and they're going to burn a lot of vouchers. If we sell all of these, we're going to burn 2.4 million vouchers. We have a huge voucher surplus right now, and that will take out a huge chunk of vouchers, okay? So I would absolutely love to see that happen. I would love to see this go sell out. The DEC is not burned. The DEC goes to the company, but it's still, that's still kind of taken off the market. Now that can go back on the market as people buy credits, but in general, that's if Splinterlands didn't have that DEC, they would have to go acquire it. And in other ways, it's good for company profit. Overall, it's good for the DEC price. So not quite as good as it being burned, but it's still good. It's still good overall for the ecosystem. If we go through 600 million DEC on this card, burn 2.4 million vouchers, then that is absolutely awesome, and that will be great for the game. And I think everybody should be excited about that, whether we get one or not. If it's too high price and it doesn't sell very well, then that's fewer people that have an advantage. Like, and I don't go buy one, that's fewer people that have an advantage over me because they have this card. So I'm happy that it's such a high price. Or if I get one myself, that's fewer people that have the advantage with me. That's more people that I have an advantage over. So regardless of whether this sells well, whether it doesn't sell well, having a high price can actually be beneficial. So I wish it was cheaper so I could go out and definitely get it, but I'm not gonna complain about the price. So anyways, off my little soapbox there, let's go take a look at some of the, or let's go over here to Peak Monsters actually. Let's take a look at some of the cards that do not have attack that can gain weapons training from this card. So we're gonna look at ones of Knife, Death, Dragon, Neutrals. What are we looking to pair with our new, what are we looking to add some ranged attack to? And I think there's some interesting combinations. So Truth Speaker is one that I've already mentioned. Truth Speaker is just such a good meta card. You get Cleanse, Tank Heal, protect, all for only 3 mana. That is so good. Oh, look, and now you can add 3 attack to it. That makes True Speaker a ridiculous card, giving 3 attack. But again, you do have that double-edged sword. If you'd have some, you throw in some return fire, some amplify. If there's any weaken or rust, True Speaker could take itself out fairly quickly, and then you might regret giving it that attack. But if not, man, you had 3 attack on True Speaker. That is absolutely nice. Same with Angel of Light. Angel of Light's 5 mana. That's an older card a lot of people don't have, but it's good. You got the Inspire, the Resurrect, the Tank Heal. Very good support card. Oh, now you give it a good chunk of damage for its mana, and it can work very well. Think cards like Arianthus or Onyx Sentinel. A lot of people will stick those cards in the back already as anti-sneak cards because they've got shield plus thorns. Well, now you can stick in the back as anti-sneak, and you can give it some attack. That can work very well. Similar with Naga Brute, whether you want to put it in the Naga Brute can make it for a nice tank, but it can make for a nice snipe defense as well. It's got that return fire, put it in the second spot. Now you can give it some attack in the second spot. It's got thorns for when it moves up to the main tank spot. It could be a nice card there. Warrior of Peace. Warrior of Peace is a card that has 3 different debuffs. It's going to decrease the opponent's attack by 1 regardless of what type of attack they have. So I really like, do I need to scroll down there? No, you guys can see it. Being able to then give that card 3 attack, Warrior of Peace, put it in the snipe spot, the second, third spot. If your opponent goes with some return fire and you've got a card like Warrior of Peace, it's not as big of a deal. It's got 14 health. So yeah, even if you have return fire plus amplify and it's getting 3 damage back at you, it's still gonna take 5 turns to take it out. So giving Warrior of Peace some attack can be kind of nice. So I mean, cards like Pelacor Conjure, Almo, Almo could be one you can put in the snipe spot, be able to give it some attack. In general, I feel like those are tanks I like to stick up at the very front more often. But hey, if you've got where range can attack up front, that could be a nice play. Kind of same with Riftwing. But look at some of these others down here, like Chaos Agent, Scavo Hireling. Those are very cheap cards. Chaos Agent has 1 attack, or is only 1 mana. You can give a 1 mana card 3 attack before any other buffs or anything like that. Again, it's going to be very susceptible to some return fire. But even then, it only costs, even if he just does 2 attacks and then kills himself, it's a 1 mana card. It's worth the 6 damage. So the 6 damage you can get from those 2 attacks. So being able to throw some cheap cards in there and get a lot of attack from them, I think can work really well. Let's go back over to that screen was just displaying the tradable cards. Here's some of the soulbound cards. If we look at, again, we're just looking at the elements they're relevant here. For R here, here's another. We talked about 1 mana cards. So how about this one? Then if it gets taken out with return fire, it's got redemption. It's got scavenge. It can gain a little bit more health anyways to maybe help it stay alive a little bit. I kind of like that. I just imagine if you put Zyriel in the back line and you've got her R on one side, Chaos Agent on the other side. That's a cost of 9 mana, and you've got 11 ranged attack. 5, 3, 3. That's without even using something like General Sloan to boost your attack even further. That's with no ranged attack boost. You can put out some damage out there. You can absolutely throw some damage out there. So that could be fun. I mean, we've got Evelyn here. Again, I think of using this card more towards the front line. We talked about having a sneak defense or something like that. Well, it's got thorns. It's got lots of health plus armor up there. You can throw in the back. You can throw it in the second spot, Reflection Shield. If the opponent has blast or goes like with a Jotun team, could work pretty well, and then you can give it some attack. But I think there's some fun combos here. I do think there's some fun combos here that can be used. Clockwork 8 is a neutral card. You can get, again, it only costs 4 mana. You can get some more rust out there. Get strengthened, get swiftness. You can throw it in the back. It's got, if the opponent has sneak, well, it's got 9 armor. It can absorb some hits. So I do think there's a lot of fun combos to use with this card. I think it's absolutely going to be a solid card. I really like it. My question is going to be, is it worth $700? And that to me is kind of, that's where the decision lies. It's a very, very expensive card. It's the first time we've ever seen a card like this, so I do think it will sell fairly well. Like here's another Will-O-Wisp, got no attack. Again, this is a card I typically think of playing up more of the front line, but it still has some, I mean, you can get a decent amount of attack, and then you've got Weaken, Silence, Blind. By putting this in the back, those debuffs stay around for a little longer. And again, it can be a good anti-sneak card because it's got flying, it can get some dodge. Flying plus blind is gonna give it a high dodge chance, and it's got a lot of health back there. So I feel like there's a lot of good combos where you can defend against, sneak well, and get a lot of attack out there. So it's definitely a card I want to use. If I don't buy it myself, I'm absolutely going to go rent it. We're going to go play with it. And I see a lot of possibilities. Absolutely see a lot of possibilities here. What do you guys think? Will this sell 15,000 copies? I do have, if we go look, so what was it? 40, how much do you need? 440,000 DEC. Can you guys see my totals up here? Yeah, you can. I've got that. Do I have the vouchers? I think I've got the vouchers. So I do have the funds to get it. Yeah, we've got 2.4K vouchers. We're good on vouchers there. I've got it. Should I buy it? Should I not? There's just so many other options. I've got a lot of cards, but I do not have a complete deck. And there's still a lot of cards out there that I want to go get. So anyways, what do you think? How good is the card? How well do you think it's going to sell? Are you getting one? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much. You know we're gonna do some live streams on it. We are absolutely gonna do some live streams. Got some fun things coming up. Stay tuned. See you then.